What's going on, everyone? It's Sean from All Things EV, and this is why I disagree with Doug DeMuro's opinion about the Tesla Cybertruck. So first off, I want to say that I'm a big fan of Doug's channel, or channels. I guess he's got a couple of them now. He does great work in the automotive space, talking about cars, doing reviews of cars, and covering all the quirks and features of the cars. He is really great, and he actually said in this video that I want to touch on that he's a fan of Tesla, but he made a really big mistake when talking about the Cybertruck, and I want to cover that. I've also been thinking that I need to do a comparison between the Cybertruck and some more traditional gasoline trucks anyway. So I'm going to kill two birds with one stone here and offer a counter position to what Doug DeMuro thinks about the Cybertruck. So let's go ahead and jump in.
I think the styling is absolutely awful, but for me, this truck is an early flop for more than just that. The value proposition against other trucks isn't there.
The first thing that I'll give to Doug is that I don't disagree that the design of the Cybertruck is just odd, and it's strange, and it's very different. I will say, though, that I think that over time, this truck will end up being an iconic design, and people will look back and think, oh, remember that time when we saw that pickup truck, that Tesla pickup truck that they drove up on stage and we thought it was ridiculously ugly? Oh yeah, I remember that. Now we think it's beautiful. I suspect that this is going to be one of those things where it just took a little while to get used to because it was so different and it was so stark in comparison to what we are all used to today with a traditional looking pickup truck. That being said, one of Doug's biggest complaints was the price differentiation between gasoline trucks and this Cybertruck.
But listen to this, a base model Chevy Silverado tows 9,800 pounds, basically the same, and it starts at only $30,000. 20 grand less than that mid-level Cybertruck. Now, obviously, the base model Silverado has practically nothing. No luxuries, cloth seats, pretty crappy, single cab. It is a very basic truck.
But he made a really big mistake in that he started comparing the Cybertruck, which has a double cab and a 6.5-foot bed length, with trucks that have a smaller bed length and only a single cab, and that start at $30,000. So if we're really going to compare apples to apples here, we have to do away with the traditional gasoline variants that only have a single cab and a shorter bed. So let's go ahead and do an apples to apples comparison with the Cybertruck, the Ford F-150, the Chevy Silverado 1500, and the Ram 1500. The price range for the Cybertruck is $39,900 to $69,900, and though we don't know the actual battery size, I'm going to take some wild guesses here based on the range and based on the size of the vehicle, that it's going to come in at 100 to 250 kilowatt hour battery pack sizes. Refueling costs, if we base it on the national average for electricity, which is 11 cents per kilowatt hour, it's going to run somewhere between $11 and $27.50 to charge or refuel the Cybertruck. The range on that's 250 to 500, payload 3,500, towing capacity 7,500 to 14,000. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. For the Ford F-150, we've got a very similar price point when we compare the double cab and the 6.5-foot to the Cybertruck. All right, so it's 36,340 to 55,570. The fuel tank is 23 to 36 gallons, and the refueling cost is $59, basically $60 to just over $93 to refuel a single tank on the F-150. The range on that, if we base it on the city driving, is 506 miles to 792, depending on the tank size. The payload for that is 1,700 to 2,640, and the towing capacity is 5,000 to 13,000. And for the Silverado 1500, we're looking at just over 36,000 and just under $61,000 for that price range. It's got a 24 to 28 gallon tank, and the cost to refuel is $62 and some change to $72 and some change, and that's going to get you about 552 miles to 644. Payload is 2,250 and the towing capacity 9,400. And lastly, for the Ram 1500, it's going to run a little over $32,000 to just under $48,000. The fuel tank is 23 to 26 gallons, and it's going to cost just under $60 to just over $67 to refuel that each time. And you're going to be able to go 460 to 520 miles. payload is 1,710 to 2,100, and the towing capacity is 7,410 to 12,750. So we can see that when we compare an apples to apples in terms of size of the cabin as well as the bed, that the Cybertruck is actually right on par with their competition in the gasoline space. One of the things that Doug failed to mention that I think makes a huge difference in the total cost of ownership is how much less expensive it is to recharge a battery on the Cybertruck versus refuel the gasoline engines on these pickup trucks. So when you factor all the costs in, not just purchase price, but also cost to refuel or recharge, the Cybertruck comes in significantly lower. And of course, the longer that you own that vehicle, the less expensive it's going to be. So Doug, if you're watching this video, I would encourage you not just to focus on the purchase price of the vehicle, but also compare apples to apples in terms of cabin size as well as bed size. And then probably most importantly, the cost to power and refuel a Cybertruck is going to be significantly less than it will be for a gasoline vehicle. And that's just charging it from the grid. And if you're slapping solar panels on your house, you not only have the good conscience that you're not polluting the air with gasoline and toxic fumes, but you're also reducing that total cost of ownership of the Cybertruck. Sean Mitchell, All Things EV, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch everyone on the next video.